Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. Are you trying to bring Malcolm Nance out of his shell?
I
He's
am.
very shy.
I
Oh,
am.
this would be Andrew Weissmann. Yes.
We had in writing, we'd sort of captured some emails between Konstantin Kilimnik and Paul Manafort talking about this deal and saying what they needed to make this work was a wink from Donald Trump that this would happen.
Well, and he went on to say,
But take Trump out of this. This was clearly indicating what it is that Mr. Putin was trying to do, which was to take half of Ukraine, and actually the wealthy part of Ukraine, and now you see it's basically, I want to take all of it. It did get some attention in the New York Times. It certainly got attention in the Senate report, but it was such a clear indication of what Vladimir Putin was trying to do.
Hi, Malcolm. You probably have no thoughts on the Republicans voting down aid for Ukraine on the day that Tucker Carlson was in Moscow doing Putin's talking points on Ukraine. Hi.
Hi, yeah, about that. Good God. Good God. I don't know if you have the tweet. Somebody tweeted out there, the party of Reagan has completely flipped at the hands of one con man and have become the party of Moscow and Putin. This is beyond treasonous. They are in their pocket. Even now, Mitch McConnell, with a deal that they worked on for 4 months,
Yeah.
right? Which would essentially end immigration into the United States and shut the border down most days. Nope. They'd rather do Moscow's bidding. The Republicans are really, what did I write in that book? I can't remember that. Plot to Hack America back in 2016.
Yep.
Not to mention Paul Manafort as well, exactly what Weissmann said. What I wrote in 2016 was, we called them the Kremlin crew with
Yep.
two Ks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw this column in the Financial Times, withering column saying a second Trump term will make Putin's all of his dreams come true. He has already inspired Republicans in Congress to block the aid, as we just saw. He writes, if the freedom of Ukraine, security of Europe are collateral damage in Trump's bid to win back the White House, he seems to regard that as the price worth paying. Putin made a long-term investment in Trump when he interfered in the 2016 presidential election. He writes, Putin has made a long-term bet on Trump. Unless there is a last-minute change of heart in Congress, that wager may finally pay out on the battlefields of Ukraine. Malcolm, you've been there. You've fought. You've lent your military expertise in Ukraine. What happens now?
Well, first off, let's stipulate some things so that everybody understands exactly where I'm coming from. I'm in touch with Ukraine every minute, just minutes ago, with people who are fighting in Ukraine. Ukraine has the guts to win this war. They could win this war if they were given all the resources they need now, not drip-drabbing like, Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor, has been doing, like the way Secretary Austin wants to do, which is give them everything. Instead of sending 500 Bradleys to Morocco, we would have just given them to Ukraine. But you still have to have a budget for that. You still have to have money for that. And that requires Congress. Congress is bought by Moscow. We should just never refer to them anything other than the Kremlin crew or the Traitor Caucus, because, or the Moscow Caucus, because that's what they are. Trump has stated openly before. He said in private to the Prime Minister of Sweden, he intended to withdraw the United States from NATO. He still does. And they're not talking about destroying everything that was represented by World War II and freeing the free states of Europe. He is a lackey of Putin, and he's going to give it all away.
Malcolm, is there any way President Biden has around this? I heard something about, weapons from Greece or, unfreezing Russian, money to give. Is there any way around Congress for Biden to help Ukraine?
Yes, and they lost an opportunity when they had the Lend-Lease Act, which is where they could have given Ukraine anything. But again, the White House National Security Team, they need to be fired. All right, they need to be fired. They're just not doing enough. And what they do is that, most of those guys on the national security team, Jake Sullivan's never served in the military. He's been a talking head. He's like this 30 some odd year old wondercoon or early 40 wondercoon. He doesn't understand this is live.
Yeah.
And it doesn't care.
Oh, oh
I mean,
boy.
they're calling. We're back to the I don't need a ride. I need ammunition phase of this war, almost to the first week. Ukraine will persevere. They'll win. They'll hold them off. But they could have won
Yeah.
if we had given them everything that they need.
I mean, and Malcolm, they're saying it out loud now. A key Russian general who Putin promoted this week views the invasion of Ukraine as, quote, a mere stepping stone to further conflict in Europe. How many times have you and others said this? Can you explain again to people why this is in our interest to help Ukraine?
Yeah. Yeah. Ukraine is the eastern wall of democracy, people. All right. You've seen Game of Thrones. They're the guys in the black cloaks, right? They're the men in black. They're the ones who are holding the wall away from the bad people. And let me tell you something. Ukraine can't lose. What they can do is Putin can keep that territory, and that can be considered a loss, and they can start eating away piecemeal at other parts of Ukraine. But we've kicked Russia's butt relentlessly. Those talking head generals who say this stuff, they don't have, somebody said, oh, they're going to invade Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, or Poland. I was like, with what army? They literally are, I'm not joking, are taking tanks off of monuments to bring them back into duty. And I don't mean modern tanks. I mean tanks that are from the 50s. Yeah. So Russia's got its own issues. They're ready to lie, but that doesn't mean they won't do something to provoke and attack NATO, which means American soldiers, not volunteers, American soldiers on the front lines in Latvia, Poland will die in a conflict with Moscow.
Wow. We mentioned, I can't remember now why my dad came up, who did interrogate Garen,
not Goebbels.
as an
Not
assistant Nuremberg
Garen.
prosecutor. But you retweeted Matthew Cook, who said in 1940 the Red Army massacred 22,000 Poles in the Katyn Forest. They blamed it on the Nazis at Nuremberg and only admitted their guilt in 1990. This is what's terrifying. This general literally said, oh, yeah, this is just the beginning, Ukraine. And this is what we keep trying to say. And then we're, an attack on a NATO country. And then, as you say, we've got American troops having to get involved.
Yeah. Well, let's just put it this way. Moscow generals are a bunch of yippy dogs, right? They have all bark. I mean, no bite, toothless. I don't even understand what army he's talking about he could do this with. Latvia, they could bombard some things, but our counter battery, our ability to counter fire would slaughter them. And I'm not joking. I'm using that word. I've seen the Ukrainians do it. Adaptive. Imagine an unleashed NATO across all fronts. No one wants to go to Moscow, but, we would certainly make sure that they would have nothing to send in Ukraine. No one wants this fight. No one should have it. The American people should understand every dollar we invest in Ukraine, it goes to American manufacturers in Alabama, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Indiana. None of this money goes to Ukraine. What goes to Ukraine is artillery shells and rockets. We're beating Russia with equipment that's 40 and 50 years old. The Bradley fighting vehicle's 50 years old.
Now, last week,
we just need to send them what they need.
Yeah. Last week, most people, when they hang up, say, bye, love you. You said, I think World War III is about to start. And we were like, bye. And then, Biden.
I was correct, by the way.
Yes.
You were.
Yeah. Well, obviously, Biden had to do these strikes, which, you're over in Israel. Tell us, what is this latest thing with Jeremy Scahill on Twitter? So he claims that only one baby was killed on October 7th.
Oh yeah. Well, he might be right. One child under the age of one, a 9-month-old. He got it from Social Security rolls. So I know Jeremy Scahill. I helped him with his first book, Dirty Wars, his documentary, his Oscar-nominated documentary. I was in that, Dirty Wars. And, seems like a nice guy. But all these people at The Intercept, these guys sit at a long table behind glass walls, brick walls, and do paper chases. and he's minimizing the deaths of these people. He claimed that like some dozens of children under
Oh boy, we have a
killed
bad
by
connection.
rocket attack.
Yeah,
It's
sorry, honey. We have a bad connection this
You
week.
don't know what we're talking about. Shut up. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I heard that much.
I
Okay.
said,
Yeah, we heard that.
You don't know what you're
All right.
talking about. Shut up.
Yeah. I have to.
Okay.
I have to just point out before we go. We're having a tough.
My Twitter.
All right, we're having a tough connection this week, but I just have to. And with you stealing for Angela's act again, you retweeted Kellyanne Conway suggests Trump should pick Tim Scott as his running mate, and you said PSA: African Americans loathe butter biscuit Tim Scott. I just let you refer to him as hashtag butter biscuit, but okay.
He is. That boy. You know, after Fat Albert and Friends went out of business, with Cosby, and he took this Senate job, there is a character who looks exactly like him on the Cosby cartoons. Go check yourself.
I've seen that.
That
It's
guy's
terrible.
got
It's-
issues.
I hear you.
I pray to God he's vice presidential candidate so we can make fun of him relentlessly. And I would love to see a Kamala Harris debate of her just laughing at the podium.
Yeah.
Just not saying a word, just laughing
Yeah,
at him at the
that
podium.
laugh that we love and they hate. That'd be fantastic. All right, stay safe, Malcolm. We love you. We'll see you next week.